Hello my beautiful people of the world and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, we talk about all things conspiracies, chilling, spooky, unsolved mysteries on this channel. If you are not new here, thank you for returning as always. I appreciate you so much. If you are new here, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me, please. It's free. I appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get right into today's video. We're going to be talking about a conspiracy that I actually just heard about recently, and I'm sure that we could dive into the deepest rabbit hole of this, okay? But we will talk about the basics of this theory, where it comes from, and how it intertwines into some other theories that you probably already know about. Today we're going to be talking about the idea that Earth, the planet that you are currently on, is not just the planet you live on, it's actually a prison. Yes, this is the prison planet theory. Now, this theory can go into some spiritual beliefs, it can go into the simulation theory, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of, because it seems the deeper that you go into it, the more these theories tend to overlap. Now, you're probably thinking, what is the prison planet theory? What does that even mean? Basically, it's the idea that when we die, when we pass on, we don't actually ever leave, okay? And there literally is no escaping. Now, you're probably like, Taylor, what are you talking about? That literally makes no sense. Well, hear me out. I'm sure you guys have heard of this idea of reincarnation. Now, yes, this is a spiritual belief, and if you don't know what reincarnation is, it's basically the idea that when you die, you just get reborn into a new body or even a new vessel like an animal or a bug or a tree, anything, right? That your soul, that your energy lives on and is recycled, reincarnated into a new life form. Now you're probably like, I didn't come here for a spiritual lesson. What is this conspiracy? Well, it actually ties a lot together because the idea stems from reincarnation, and basically that light at the end of the tunnel, a lot of people describe as you opening your eyes, being reborn into a new life. And listen, I mean, there's been countless stories, I'm sure you've heard some of them, of children remembering their past lives, where they used to live, who they used to be, who their family members were. And it does seem as we age that a lot of those memories start to fade, and it's really only kids that remember it, and it's probably because it's fresh in their mind, assuming that this theory is real. And some people that have had near-death experiences often explain this type of rebirth that happens, but for the most part, people don't really have a memory of a past life. I know I don't. I'm sure you probably don't. Maybe you do. And if you do, comment down below. And because of this, with this theory of this prison planet, there really is no way out. You just keep getting reborn and recycled into the system. Now, you're still probably thinking, what does this have to do with being a prison planet? That just sounds like reincarnation. That just sounds like a spiritual concept, a spiritual belief. Well, the idea is that there's greater entities. Some people might call them lizard people, which I'm sure you've heard of. Some people think they're non-human entities that maybe live on another planet or control the universe in itself, even bigger than we can imagine. But it's the idea that these other beings are keeping us locked here on Earth as a prison so they can harvest our energy. Because when you think about it, all life is an energy. If you're a spiritual person or you're a science person, you can't deny the fact of energy. And so it's the idea that these other beings, these other entities, are harvesting our energy and feeding off of it. But if we were to escape this prison, there would be no more energy for them to use. And with this religious aspect in mind, long before conspiracy theories ever developed, there was a belief known as Gnosticism. And basically, it viewed material existence as flawed or even an illusion. And it had this alternative way of thinking about the cosmos and deeper interpretations of existence in itself. And basically that the physical world is an illusion or a trap. And the goal of this belief was to simply wake up and realize that you're in a hypnosis and be able to escape the illusion that we have here on Earth in the physical realm. And I'm sure that might sound a little like something else, which is the simulation theory. And if you've never heard of that, it's basically that we're in a simulation. And that's that. Now you can think of this in many different ways. There's the movie The Matrix. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Although if you're here, I'm assuming most of you have watched it. But also some people think maybe we're just living in a video game. You know, somebody created us and we all became conscious. A little like AI becoming conscious, okay? Not to say that we're AI, but that we're just created and we're simply living in a video game and none of this is real, and we're gonna wake up and we're gonna be like, oh my gosh, that felt so real. I thought I was actually there. If you've ever seen that episode of Rick and Morty, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of freaky. But basically, yes, it's the idea that life is artificial, created by somebody else. But with the simulation theory, there's not this idea of being trapped. It's just that this isn't reality, what we think is reality. And so maybe you're thinking, well, if we are trapped here, how do we get out of it? Well, that's why this idea of Gnosticism comes into play so much, because some people probably already practice this and don't even know it, but things like meditation or lucid dreaming, and not that I'm saying you should, but people who are into psychedelics, not me personally, I have too much anxiety, but for those that do, it opens their mind and they're able to control reality as they see it, or sometimes brings them to another realm, and maybe that's the true realm that we are meant to stay out of. And maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is why so many people have anxiety, like me. Maybe this is why so many people deal with these types of mental illnesses, because if you're someone who believes that we are soulful beings and that we go on to another realm, whether it's the heavens, whether it's something completely different, this fear and anxiety and stress that we all go through would keep us, like I just said, from maybe doing these psychedelics or trying to lucid dream. I don't even want to do that because it scares me. Or even simple things like meditation, because by doing these things, you start to bend the reality that you're in. And if there's other entities, other beings who want to keep us down here, they're going to do as best they can to keep us from doing those things. That makes sense to me. I mean, and even think about it in like even some kids movies that you see, like Monsters Inc. They feed off fear. And yes, it did switch after that. But the point is, they're feeding off of emotions, which is what these higher entities, these other creatures, these other beings, the lizard people, are doing, at least in this theory. Basically, it's like Earth is just a little cog in a machine. What if all the planets are just little cogs in a machine that create energy? Anyway, now here's why some people take this so seriously, this idea of this prison planet. One, going back to the simulation theory, but we already simulate things in real life. We simulate small worlds all the time in video games. And as a matter of fact, researchers have already simulated a real fly's brain into a game. Yeah, this is not a theory. They simulated an adult fruit fly's brain, which, to get into technicals, is approximately 140,000 neurons, and they put it in a virtual environment, so like a little video game. And it basically created this digital twin of this fly. And they basically tested this by simulating different things like foods and seeing if it would walk towards it, cleaning itself. And it did. It acted as a fly would and went towards the food and started cleaning itself. And basically, they've done this as a step towards brain emulation, which is basically just cloning the brain and being able to use it in a different host, body, computer. So this fly is just the start of them being able to simulate more complex species like us, like you, and understand consciousness better. And I know I kind of rambled off topic for a little bit, but it's really all intertwined, because if we're sitting here, people out there are already sitting here trying to simulate things. Who said it hasn't already been done? Who says we're not living in that right now? Who says we're not just in an endless time loop, because time itself is just a human construct for us to be able to understand a day-to-day basis. I mean, not to rattle your brain too much, but you know, there's people out there who say that past, present, future, it doesn't exist. It's all one. It's all happening at the same time. And when I thought about this, it made me think about ghosts, spirits, okay? if you're somebody who believes in that, I am. But if you're somebody who believes in that, if you ever watch people that go ghost hunting, they always talk about how it's energy left behind from the person who passed on. Energy. This thing that these other beings are trying to harness and keep trapped here on Earth. The lighting just got crazy. This is what happens when you use natural light for your videos. But if you're somebody who believes in ghosts, maybe you also believe in this realm of purgatory where the energy, your soul, your mind gets trapped in this in-between world and you don't actually ever move on. But then that just makes me think, well, what if your past life energy didn't move on? So that past life you energy is still there, being harvested the way they want. And now they've just put your soul into a new body and a new life form. But all this energy that you created throughout the years of your life is now encompassed in everywhere you went, the places you've lived, the places you've traveled. There's so much energy that you have left behind. I feel like I could just deep dive so far into this right now because I'm just thinking of new things as I'm saying it. And science even backs the idea that energy can neither be created or destroyed. So that means it's just recycled. That means it's just reincarnated. But what for? But another reason that some people believe this is that, life can feel repetitive, or some people even experiencing deja vu. I've had deja vu more times than I can count on my fingers in my lifetime. Some people think deja vu is crazy. I've kind of trained myself to think that it's a good thing when it happens, like telling myself I'm on like the right path or something, but now I'm just gonna be thinking it's because I'm trapped. But for a lot of people, it also just feels like we're constantly stuck in this cycle of life, this circle of life. Whether it's mentally, emotionally, financially even, we all just tend to find ourselves in these loops. So it can be easy to feel like you're trapped. Now, obviously, this is just a theory, okay? There's no factual evidence that this is happening, and if it is happening, I don't think we're ever gonna get factual evidence if this is happening, okay? But even if this theory isn't real, a lot of people could still use this metaphorically, saying that these cycles that we continue to go down of our habits, addictions, fears, patterns we repeat without even realizing it, it just ultimately feels like there's no escaping. And maybe ultimately, escaping is just more about becoming aware. And waking up is just about becoming aware of your surroundings and what life actually is around you. Whatever the truth is, I just hope in this lifetime I can touch $1 million or something like that. But anyways, do you think we're living on a prison planet? Have you ever thought about this before? And if not, if you're just new to thinking about this theory, like I am, and if this theory turned out to be real, do you think you would do anything different with your life? Would you try to start meditating more? Maybe have a little hand at lucid dreaming? Or are we now just gonna all go down a rabbit hole and hope that we can escape? Alright you guys, I love you so much. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And again, all just theories. Make sure you go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe. It's free, it helps me out so much. And comment below what you think about this theory. Do you think it's real? Do you think some form of the simulation theory is real? And do you think we're all just screwed and stuck here forever? Alright, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.